Trend Zone. Estamos aquí con una verdadera leyenda. No es común que digamos este tipo de cosas. Es una leyenda real, un jugador absolutamente top, el mejor quizás de la historia en su posición. En este programa hemos tenido a Joe Montana alguna vez y ahora tenemos a Barry Sanders. Mr. Sanders, it's an honor, it's a pleasure. You're a legend and we're very, very, very happy to have you here.
Great to be here. How are you guys doing?
All good. Very happy to see you, sir. An honor. And, well, let's get straight to the point. Big time Super Bowl, a huge game. We're obviously talking about two teams that have been their best in their conferences. But since we're talking to, in my opinion, the greatest running back of all time, let's talk about the running game of both teams. Would you like to do that? You come from an age where there wasn't many shared backfields. You know, you had a workhorse and you would run the ball. This time, with the exception of Charbonnet, both teams run by platoon, run by committee. Do you think that's a sign of a new age, or do you think that that's something that wouldn't fly in the 90s?
I think it's certainly something you see more of in the new age. I think, but I like these two teams because they both like to run the football, right? And they both can run it to win a game, right? And you look at the Henderson kid for the Patriots, who had just a great year. You know, I watched him a lot in college. You know, I live in Michigan. He went to Ohio State. You know, we don't have to get into that rivalry, but he's had a fantastic rookie campaign, right? And then you get into Kenneth Walker. Unfortunately, we're not going to have Zach Charbonnet, but Kenneth Walker, who I saw a lot play in college as well, living in Michigan. He went to Michigan State, and he's been a great pro for Seattle. And it's wonderful to see them, to see him help his team make it to the Super Bowl.
We're talking about a new age, but it seems that we're coming back to an old age. Like 5 years ago, they were saying like ground and pound is dead. Now this is a passing league, and right now I'm not so sure. What's your point of view about it?
I agree. That's my exact thought. I feel like, 6-7 years ago, they were trying to write the running backs off. But you look at Saquon rushing for 2,000 yards last year. You look at the kid for Buffalo.
Yeah, James Cook, Taylor.
James Cook, yeah, leading the league in rushing this year. You look at the great year that Chris McCaffrey had this year. Bijan Robinson had a fantastic year. We got a great running back tandem in Detroit. Yeah. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. The list goes on. So I think there's a lot of great running backs in the game. And there's certainly been like a resurgence of the running game.
You just mentioned the Lions. I have to ask you about the resurge of Detroit and with Dan Campbell, with that duo in the backfield with Gibbs and Montgomery. How do you feel as a Lions legend that the Lions are back?
No, I feel great. I mean, it all starts with Coach Dan Campbell. Ever since he's come to Detroit, just the mentality that he's brought, right, and the successful mindset that he's brought with him, and just the results that he's been able to get, right, and you see the fact that his offensive and defensive coordinator from a couple years ago were highly sought after head coaches, right. So it's just been a lot of successful storylines around Detroit, and we know that there's still more for this team to do. There's still a great roster, still a great coaching staff, and we just barely missed the playoffs this year. We were sitting in a great situation up until the last month of the season. We lost 3 out of the last 4 games, but tip your hat to the Bears. They did what it took to win a division, and so, but we know we weren't far off, and we feel like we can be back there next year, but it's a very competitive division, and that's what you want, right? That's what you want, and so everyone has a chance. Everyone has a chance, right?
Yes.
So yeah, absolutely.
There's obviously only one Barry Sanders, but do you find like that one of the running backs of this time, like his style looks a little bit like yours?
I think there's some similarities with some guys, right? I think we mentioned like guys like Christian McCaffrey or Bijan Robinson or Saquon Barkley, Jahmyr Gibbs.
Yeah.
Those kind of guys. So I think there's some just like when I was a kid, I grew up wanting to be like Tony Dorsett or like Marcus Allen or Walter Payton or a lot of other running backs, and so yeah, I think you see some similarities in some of these current running backs.
Last one. What's your? Who do you think will win and why?
I think I lean a little bit toward Seattle.
Right.
I think you look at what Sam Darnold has done, and you look at that defense. I think maybe Seattle's defense was probably rated a little bit higher than the Patriots, but it's awesome what Mike Vrabel's been able to do, honestly. Again, just seeing new blood in the Super Bowl gives me hope as a Lions fan.
Yeah,
that we can make it here, and so yeah, it's been good. So yeah, that's what I think will happen. And we'll see what happens on Sunday. Also, I want to mention, just been great being here on a part of Amgen. Raising heart awareness.
Yes,
for everyone out there, we want to encourage people to go see their doctor and see where their LDL-C or bad cholesterol is, and if you want to find out more about it, go to attackheartdisease.com/documentary and see what your testing options are.
Exactly.
So I want to make sure I get that in, but yes, I think it's going to be a great game. And two teams that no one expected to be here.
Not at all.
Right?
No one.
So that definitely gives me hope as a Lions fan.
Awesome. Imagine I'm a Jets fan, so my hope is a bit farther down the road.
Well, Mr. Sanders, I'm a Packers fan, and on behalf of all Packers fans, we had our hearts tested every time you touched the ball because you were a threat to take it to the house, and it's a huge honor to meet. I say it again. In my opinion, the greatest running back to ever do it.
I agree. It's him and Walter Payton. That's it. We
End of list.
I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Great to be here, and we had some good battles against the Packers.
Yeah.
Had some really good battles back in the day. So
it was fun.
But yeah, and we hope that we know you guys have lifted a few Lombardi trophies, and in Detroit we're trying to get there.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Sanders. Muchísimas gracias a todos por acompañarnos. Aquí seguimos en Trenson con más y mejor NFL. Chao.